a website. I won't go through my entire bio because that would take about 40 minutes of this presentation, but I have a lot of involvement with Madison College. I've been teaching in continuing education, both social media and marketing, for about 9 years right now. I've also now just joined the Entrepreneurship Center as an entrepreneur in residence, and I really enjoy helping other people out there start their businesses. I've been working with students and people from the community in all phases of their business, from just an idea to I have a full out plan and I'm trying to get customers right now. So that's something that you are considering doing. Please reach out to us. Either I or one of the other entrepreneurs in residence will be happy to help you out. Just a couple things just by day. I want to let you know that I run an agency called Revelation, and we are full service. We do PR, marketing, advertising, but of course we build websites. And I've noticed a lot of things over the years, which is why I've developed this presentation, and I've actually given it in several places. And I hope that you get something out of this. Here's what I want to talk about is from the absolute very beginning, we're going to show you how to acquire a domain name and the hosting that comes with it. And then all the way to the end about building your website. I've noticed during these last 12 weeks that a lot of businesses have been unable to update their own website to talk about new hours, selling procedures, curbside pickup. And I felt like, unfortunately, a lot of businesses lost out on potential revenue because they couldn't communicate to their own customers. So this is a way that I want to make sure that you guys have control to do everything online on your own without having to depend on anyone else.
And thank goodness I put it online first. More champagne, sir? More everything, Skywakers.
Don't wait. Register your big idea as a .co domain at GoDaddy.
So this is what I want to start this presentation with, talking about the difficulty in acquiring a domain name. This is going to be www.brianlee.com. I have experienced this challenge numerous times when I've started different businesses and sadly realized that the domain name I wanted was not available. So this is the very first step I want to talk to you about, is researching domain names. Some of you may already have it, some of you may not, but this is some of the steps I recommend. So first of all, let's use GoDaddy for research purposes. So you're going to go to GoDaddy.com, and then you're going to type in this search box here, the domain name you're looking for. So in this case, I'm searching for MadisonRestaurants.com. And as you can see here, surprisingly, it is not available. So it says MadisonRestaurants.com is taken, and then it gives you some alternates. It might say, well, try MadisonCafes.com. That's available. Or it will tell you that the other extensions are available. As you can see here, MadisonRestaurants.us is available, MadisonRestaurants.online. So one of these things, one of the points here that I'm trying to make is that it's okay to take a different extension. I think we're at the point in our society that people don't think every website has to be .com. In fact, I believe in that so much that my agency, we use revelation.agency is our domain name, revelation.agency. It's not revelation.com, it's revelation.agency. So don't be totally heartbroken if your .com is unavailable. This is all part of the branding effort that you're going to embark on. Okay, after you acquire your domain name, you got to make sure you put that everywhere so people will know to go to it. So again, if you have to use .cafe, .us, .whatever, that's totally fine. Otherwise, try different variations of your domain name. I just want to warn you that I believe every 4-letter combination of letters out there is taken now, if you can believe that. I believe I read that all 5-letter combinations will be taken by the end of this year. So they're slowly getting eaten up. So that's unfortunately a difficult part. Now, once you do acquire a domain name, you find one that's available. Here's what I recommend. Don't buy it through GoDaddy unless you just want to sit on it. Assuming that you do want to build a website, what I would like for you to do is purchase a package here. It's cheaper to bundle like it is with your cable and internet service. It's cheaper to purchase both your domain and hosting together. And what do I mean by hosting? Well, there's going to be a physical computer out there that has all the files of your computer. And you need to actually basically lease space from them to host your website files. And so it's cheaper to purchase them together. I would recommend some of the top providers out there, Bluehost, JustHost, HostGator. They're always ranked into top 10 of hosting providers out there. And basically all of these offer the exact same services at basically the exact same price. They're commodities. So what I would recommend is go to these sites and see which one is having a sale. And then I will walk you through that process of purchasing a host. I'll show you about contract length and so forth. I do want to just take a quick look. I've been seeing that we've been getting a ton of questions, which I can't load right now. Okay, I'm sorry. I'll get to those questions later. So you're going to go to, let's say, bluehost.com, and you're going to say, I'm ready to set up a website. Here you can see that you're going to be presented with different choices. And let me walk you through these really quickly. The basic package, this lowest package, which is the cheapest package, you could get away with. It has minimal service offerings, features, including storage. You can see here it has 50 gigabytes of storage. That means all the files you're allowed to save, whether it's a photo, PDF, video files, includes your emails. It's not a lot of space, but if you just basically need a one-page website, that could work for you. I actually do recommend you follow the recommended plan here called Choice Plus in this case. It's all the things that are part of Plus, but you also get domain privacy and protection. So let me just walk you through what these things mean. So unlimited bandwidth, unmetered bandwidth, that's basically like your data plan on your phone about how much traffic can go up and down from your website. So that's unmetered. That's good. Unlimited storage means you can have unlimited files on your website. That's also good. The free SSL certificate, that gives you the HTTPS, adds another layer of security on your website, especially good if you have contact forms or you're doing e-commerce. And then down here is the domain privacy. So that's why this is $1 more per month. If anyone in this chat or this webinar right here is old enough to remember phone books and being unlisted, this is the internet equivalent of being unlisted from the phone book. Domain privacy protects all your information. When you purchase a domain, your contact information is out there for the internet to find. So this basically hides all that information. That's your phone number, address, email address, everything. So I do recommend that. And for the extra $1 a month, it's certainly worth it. So once you pick a package, you come up to this page. It says here on the left-hand side, you'll see that I'm purchasing a new domain for the first time. So, brianlee.com, or maybe you've purchased it in the past and are ready to finally build a website to it. That's the right box here. Once you do that, you're going to come up to this page where you want to look at things like the contract length. As you can see at the top of the screen, if you do a longer term contract, like 36 months, it is cheaper per month. You can see 36 months is $5.95 per month versus 12 months is $7.95 per month. The catch here is that you have to pay all the money up front. So if 36 times 6 is too much for you, that's why you might have to drop down to 12 times 8. Okay, again, you have to pre-purchase or prepay your entire contract up front. If you can afford it, it makes more sense to do the long-term contract at a cheaper rate. Now, all the different hosting providers are going to do the same thing. They are going to try to upsell you. You will see a long page of things that they want to try to add on to your contract. The only things I would recommend, one is domain privacy. If you didn't already pick a package with it, as I mentioned before in this example, that the Choice Plus does include domain privacy. If not, you should add it on. As you can see here, it's 99 cents per month. And the other thing you should think about adding on is site backup. So first, if you have what's called a brochure website, it's basically you have a homepage, about page, contact page, and really nothing else. You don't need site backup because what you can do is just save your files, the pages from your website locally onto your computer and then restore them at any time. If you have a database, for example, you have member accounts on your website, you should have site backup. let me give you a personal example. So I run a site called eatdrinkmadison.com. It's an online dining guide. And in our database, we have more than 1,200 restaurants and bars in the Madison area. That is a database I really want to protect. So I purchased the backup protection plan, and it backs up my site basically every minute. So if it ever were to go down, I wouldn't have to retype 1,200 restaurants or bars back into my website. So again, if you have a database such as membership accounts or e-commerce or whatever, yes, get the site back up. If you're a brochure site, you don't need to purchase it. Hope that makes sense. Now, before we get on to building the website, I do want to take a quick second to show you how to create email accounts. I've noticed that many small business owners use a personal email account as their main business account, like they're using brian@hotmail.com. Here's how to actually create an email address with the domain name you just purchased. So again, we just went through all the screens. You went through Bluehost or JustHost or HostGator or whatever you did, and you set up an account there. Now, what you're going to do is log back in to your host. And what you do is, for example, you go to bluehost.com, and then there will be on the right-hand side a way to log in. It will say, what's your domain name? So brianlee.com, what's the password you created? The other way of logging in is that your website might have a secret page built into it from your host. It would be brianlee.com/cpanel, which means control panel. So you might be surprised to find out that you actually have that secret page on your website. Either way, you're going to log into this control panel, again, either through the host or through this page. And once you log in, you're going to see all the different features on the back end of your website hosting. And as you can see here, the one I've circled is called email accounts. So you click email accounts, and then you get to a screen like this. And in this case, what you can do is create email accounts one by one. So I would type in the name of the email account here, Brian. I would enter the password twice, and then I could set the mailbox quota. Unlimited is typically fine, unless you're trying to limit someone's email address space. And then you hit create account, and that's it. That's how easy it is to create an email address with your account. I want to quickly address a comment here brought up by Chris. I completely agree that there are people that are waiting to claim those domain names. So as soon as you find one that you like and that is available, you should definitely go claim it right away. So be ready to purchase all your hosting. Thanks for bringing that up, Chris. Okay, so again, this is how you create the email account. Name, password, and then you're done. Now, here's how to actually access your email. First of all, I'm going to show you how to access your email from any computer out there. What you do is go back into your host. So again, in this case, bluehost.com, and then you're going to log in. As you can see here on the right-hand side, it's a different tab. So instead of logging into the control panel, I'm now logging into webmail. And I type my email address and the password that I just created. So you could be at a different office. You could be at the library. This is how you would access your email. The other way is that your website might, again, have a secret page. In this case, yourwebsite.com/webmail is built into your site through the host. So try that. Once you log in to your email, your online email will provide you some various features that are worth mentioning right now. So number one, mail forwarding. You might have a catch-all email account like info@brianlee.com. And instead of having to check info@, you can have it forward to your primary email address like brian@brianlee.com. Does that make sense? Number two, the autoresponder. This is those out of office messages like I'm, currently on vacation right now with limited access to email. That's how you set your autoresponder, is through this online system. And the third, and perhaps most importantly, how do you check your email from another tool like Outlook or Apple Mail or Thunderbird? This is how you do it. When you log into your online email account, it's going to give you your mail client settings. And so you can see here, I blanked out the things for privacy reasons. You're going to type in your username, which is your email address, the password, and then what your third-party email client, such as Outlook, will ask you is, what is the incoming server? So you'll copy and paste the server information into Outlook. Then it says, what's the outgoing server? Same thing, copy and paste it into Outlook or Apple Mail or your phone's email program, whatever it is. And then it will ask you, well, what's the port number? So you're going to say port 993 or port 995. And I got to take a quick break to say, Kelsey, did you see the warning we just received?
Yes, I think we should be okay though.
Okay, sounds good. Otherwise, I have to finish this presentation in the next 4 minutes. Again, this is the information you need to enter into whatever you're using, your tablet, your iPhone, your desktop computer. That's how you can check the email from one of those programs. Now, I do want to explain something, the difference between IMAP and POP3 email accounts. If you like to have your email synchronized across all your devices and in the cloud, use IMAP. So what that means is if I delete an email from my phone, it will also delete that email from my computer and the cloud and my tablet and everywhere else I have that email being checked. If you want your email synced to the device itself, then you should do POP3. That means if I were to delete an email from my computer, it would not delete that email from my phone. Okay, so again, IMAP syncs it across all your devices. POP3 keeps it locally. It's a matter of preference. I use IMAP. Now, we're finally getting to the point where we can build your website. We've just set up the hosting, the domain. I showed you how to get your email account going. And now we're going to build your website. Now, one of the things here that I know I'm showing you a lot of steps, but these steps save you money in the long run. I've had clients that had already set up a website on Google's web development cloud. And a lot of those accounts with the amount of data and features you need, they start at $40 a month. $40 a month, and that doesn't include email addresses. Each email account is $5 a month on top of that $40 a month. And as you can see from up here, we were spending $6 a month and included all your email accounts at no additional charge. So you are going to save a lot of money doing it this way. Now, once you build your site, once you've set up the hosting, you can build a site using a tool like Dreamweaver or Muse. Another way, if you didn't want to do this, is you could do one of those do-it-yourself WYSIWYG, what you see is what you get sites. Wix, Weebly, Squarespace, those are some popular ones. But those all fall under the freemium model. They're free to start with, but if you want to remove the ads from those sites, as the most recent check I did, Weebly's $5 to $25 a month. Wix is $13 to $39 a month. And at those prices, you might as well start your own site and save more money that way. So what I'm going to show you in today's presentation is how to build a website on WordPress. WordPress basically started as a blogging platform, and they ended up building out the rest of the website that you need to support your blog. This is known as their content management system. Basically, they're giving away the entire house, and it was up to you to decorate the house and determine what goes in each room. Nowadays, WordPress is on more than half of the world's websites. Sites like CNN.com are built on. For an agency like mine to build what WordPress gives you for free, we would start at minimum $10,000 to build just that structure. More likely $25,000 based on what you need. Again, WordPress is free. It saves you all those development costs. And it's so easy to use, and I'm going to show you how to do it. So first, let's log back into your host. So in this case, we picked iPage.com. We're going to log into iPage.com. We're going to type in our domain name and password. This is the same steps we did to set up our email, right? Then you're going to look under options. It's going to be somewhere, but you're going to see the word WordPress there. As you can see, I circled it here in red, and we're going to click it. And then once we click it, it is a pretty straightforward installation. It says, what folder do you want it installed in? Likely you'll have it installed in the main folder. It'll just be brianlee.com, not a subfolder. And then it'll have you set your username and password. And then it'll install the site for you. it will try to do things like add on professional services. Like, would you like a professional to install this for you? Don't do that. It's a waste of money. It's so easy for you to install it on your own. All you have to do is click install and it's done. So don't pay that charge for someone else to install it for you. Once you install it, which should take about a minute, you're going to encounter your login screen. So by default screen, as you can see here at the top, will be brianlee.com/wp-admin. This is the URL, the address you go to if you want to edit and enter the back end of your website. Right here, you're going to enter your username and password that you set, and that's how you log in. So the nice thing is you could be anywhere. Again, you could be at another office, you could be at the library, wherever. Access this site, and then you can go into the back end of your website. So once you log in, you're going to encounter what's called your dashboard. And basically all the menu items are going to be here on the left. And I'm going to show you how to use these menu items. So the first thing you want to do is you've just installed WordPress on your site. You have basically the frame of your house. And now we want to determine what the general look of your house is going to be. So on the left-hand side here, you're going to click Appearance and then Themes. You are going to pick what the general look of your website from these multiple themes. So what you're going to do is start with a keyword. You might like the color blue. So you type in blue and it'll give you all the websites out there that use a blue focus. Or you might like a magazine style website. So you type magazine. Or you might be in the real estate industry. So you type real estate and it'll give you all the real estate themes. That's how it goes. And so you'll be presented with a screen like this, and you'll see multiple themes. And as you can tell, they are all pretty different from each other. Like the one on the upper right here, OpenStrap, has 3 big buttons here under this scrolling image, while this one here in the bottom middle is really text heavy. And this one in the bottom left is just like the big hero image, as it's called, and then all the buttons further below. So again, up to you and your personal preference for how you want your site to look. One thing I would like you to note is that everything is customizable. So on this one up here, it has 3 big call-out buttons. You might just want 2. You might just want 1. You can have 1. You can just have 2. Everything is customizable. It's just showing an example of what the site could look like. So when you find one you like, you're going to click Install Now, and then you're going to activate it. And then now this theme is applied to your website. And the nice thing is maybe down the road you change your mind about the look of your website or you want to do a brand refresh. All you have to do is install a new theme. So it's easy to adjust that theme from time to time. Now, one thing you should note is that make sure when you pick a theme that when you read the details of the theme, it says it's responsive. It's a responsive theme. What responsive means is that the website adjusts according to the device that is loading the website. So you can see here this Boston Globe on a desktop computer has 3 columns. Then on the tablet, it shrinks to 2 columns. And then on the phone, it shrinks to 1 column. This is basically the new version of having a mobile-friendly website. The old way was that we used to have a separate website like m.brianlee.com or brianlee.com/mobile and be a whole separate site. Nowadays, you just have the code of the website adjust automatically, and it adjusts the images, adjusts the layout, adjusts everything, which is very nice. So that's what you should be looking for is responsive. To convert a non-responsive website to a responsive website is going to probably start at $3,500, give or take, minimum. Okay, so you might as well start day one with having a responsive website. Also, studies have shown that the majority of your traffic will likely come from a mobile device. In fact, all the sites we manage, I think the lowest percentage is 55% mobile users visiting the website. So keep that in mind too. I do see the 1-minute warning on this call. So in case that we do get shut down, I will resume right on this screen. If not, I hope I can just keep going on. So thanks everyone in case we do have this, this glitch coming up. So you have just installed the theme of your website. That's going to be the overall look. And now let's build out the rooms of your house. How, do you want 3 bedrooms, 2 baths? Do you want a big living room, all that kind of stuff? in this analogy, we're talking about the pages of your website. So on the left-hand side here, you're going to see pages, and you're going to click Add New, and that's how you add the pages of your website. So we'll talk a little bit more about the sitemap and structure of your website in a few slides from now, but I arrived, but I'm going to start now. Thanks again for coming back. Where we left off was talking about building the rooms of your house, basically. So you're going to go to pages, and then you're going to choose Add New, and here's where you can add the different pages of your website. And in a few slides from now, I'll tell you about the sitemap that you'll likely use for the structure of your website. But this is how you go about doing it. Now, once you create the pages, I'll talk about the content too. Let's talk about building the menu for your website. So on the left-hand side of your screen, you're going to go Appearance, Menus, and then you're going to create the navigation basically for your website. It's pretty straightforward. You're going to take the pages you just created and add them to the menu, and they show up here, as you can see in the bottom left of the screen. And you can move them in any order. So you can choose what goes on top of what, and then you can actually make subpages. So if you take a page and just slide it slightly over to your right with your mouse, and as you can see, it's indented, that indicates that these pages here are subpages of home. These pages here are subpages of company news, okay? So that is how you create the menu. I do want to let you know we should be recording right now. So I just get that question. We are recording right now, and this will be put online too. So you'll have the first half and second half of this presentation. So this is how you create the menu of your website. You don't have to choose all the pages from your website. You can choose whatever pages you want to show up in the navigation. Okay, so now we've created the pages and we've created the menu, but what are we going to put in terms of content on the pages? So I want to talk to you about two different things. If you're creating a new page or a new post on your WordPress site, they both will show you this screen right here, where you can add a title, you can add text, images, etc. to your page. Now, the difference between a post and a page is all those pages we just talked about, the About Us, Contact, Home. The posts are basically your blog articles that would be published in your blog section of your website. And you might be thinking, well, I don't need a blog on my website. Well, don't think of it necessarily as a blog. Think of it as a place where you can list updates for your business. This is going to be especially important for search engine optimization. I usually talk about search engine optimization, also known as SEO, in another presentation. But one of the main variables that Google looks at is how frequently you update your website. And it's going to be important to have a blog for this reason. Okay, so whether, again, you're creating a blog post or page, you will encounter the same screen. And basically, it's going to have boxes, blocks that you're going to have. And you see this plus button up here. That plus button is how you add different items. So if you want to add an image, you click the plus button and you choose image, and then you can upload an image from your computer, and then the image is placed on your page. That's how simple it's meant to be. Once you start typing, you notice that it's similar to Microsoft Word. You can bold text, you can italicize text, you can put text in bullet point form, okay? You can hyperlink text to another website. It's all meant to be very straightforward in terms of creating the content of your website. So as I mentioned at the beginning of this presentation, is that a lot of businesses I noticed over the last 12 weeks never updated their website to talk about new hours or curbside pickup or anything like that. It's as simple as just editing a Word document to edit the homepage of your website. And this is how you do it. Now, let's talk about that sitemap. What are the typical pages you would want to put on your website? Well, it would probably make sense to put about, right? If your customers care about who you are or your expertise or your education or whatever, or your mission, put that info in there. Obviously, you should probably talk about what you sell. So whether it's a service or product or whatever, talk about that. The blog, like I mentioned, doesn't have to be a blog per se. With a personal training client of ours, we call that blog Fitness and Nutrition Tips. So each week we would give a fitness or nutrition tip on the blog section of the website. And then, of course, contact. I can't tell you how many websites I look at when I do my research out there is that they forget to put their hours or a way of contacting the business. Okay, that's really important stuff. Okay, think about from the mind of your customers what they need to get from your website, and that's how you should structure your sitemap. Again, your navigation. And then in terms of photos, it can really range. Obviously, if you sell products, you should take photos of those products, right? And this is how you do it. You're going to use what's called a Lightbox. So I was consulting with this client a few years ago, and they sold custom-made jewelry. It was fabulous stuff, but they weren't getting many sales on their website. So they asked me to take a look. And I was surprised, I'll say, to see that most of the images looked like they had taken them from their flip phone. Okay, not even iPhone, I mean flip phone. That's how grainy and blurry those images were. And of course, no one wants to buy that jewelry when the image looks so bad. So this is what you would do. You can Google DIY Lightbox and you can figure out how to build one, or you can just order one. They're not that expensive. What they do is it eliminates all the shadows for the products that you want to put on your website. And then you can take a photo with your iPhone or a professional camera, and it looks a lot better when you're displaying products on your website. Okay, so this is called a Lightbox. Now, what kind of text are you going to put on your website? I want to zoom out a little bit and talk about your messaging strategy. Your key messages are broad, value-based ways of talking about your business. It's not the literal way of saying what you do. So one of the examples I talk about here is a photography studio. If someone says, well, what do? You don't say, well, we take portrait photos, we take baby photos, we take senior photos. No one remembers that kind of stuff. You're going to zoom out a bit and talk about the value. In this example, we say, we specialize in capturing those precious moments. So then people get some kind of understanding of how you differentiate from all your competitors, right? So what you do is you take these messages and you use them as the outline for all the text on your website. So let's say you had 3 key messages. One section of your website would talk about how you capture those precious moments, and you would have, supporting paragraphs under this statement like, well, we do baby photos and here's how we do them. So you lead off with your assertion and then support it with subsequent paragraphs. That's the easiest way to generate the text for your website. I know a lot of people start with, I don't know how to fill this out. Well, use your key messages as the outline. Next, it's important to use actual search terms people are using in search engines on your website. It helps with your search engine optimization. So what you want to do is go to ads.google.com. You're going to click that little tool icon, and then you're going to load up Keyword Planner. From there, you're going to start typing just a few search terms people would use if they didn't know your business existed, okay? So type in keywords that people would use if they didn't know your business existed. So my agency that I talked about, they might type Madison, Wisconsin PR firm or marketing company in Madison, okay? Start with just a few of those terms. And then from there, Google is going to show you actual search terms that people use in its search engine. So this is an example with restaurants. You can see here that there's terms like East Side Madison restaurants, and that's about 1,000 searches per month in Google. Down here we have Pizza Madison. That's about 720 searches per month in Madison. So you're going to take these terms and then you're going to embed them as naturally as possible into your website text. You're going to talk about how you are an East Side Madison restaurant. And now you know the order in which you have to put the words. And so again, let me reiterate, these are search terms people actually use in Google. You're going to use the ads.google.com keyword planner, start typing a few example search terms, and then Google will give you a full list. Take those search terms and embed them as naturally as possible into your website text. Hope that makes sense. That'll give you some more mileage out of your website. Now, let's talk about some additional advanced features you can put in your website, right? Let's say you want a contact form on your Contact Us page. How do you do that? Well, there's something within WordPress called plugins. These are widgets that people have created, and most of them are free or freemium. So these are just some examples of plugins that exist out there today. There's usually dozens of each kind. So under forms, if you were to search forms, you'd probably get a list of 20 different form plugins. If you're a restaurant, there's something called food and drink menu. It helps you display all your products as a menu. If you are, let's say, a massage therapist and want to do appointment scheduling, you can have a plugin called Booking Calendar, and that's how people can make appointments with you. So again, these are just some examples. Think about what your business needs to do to operate, and then search for that plugin, and more than likely it exists. So how do we get to those plugins? On the left-hand side here, you're going to see plugins. You can click Add New. And then on the top right, you're going to type in the keyword. So again, this is an example for contact form. And here it'll give me a whole list of forms. So in this case, I'm saying I like to use contact form, but you might like contact form 7. You might like Ninja Forms. You might like a different plugin. So test them out, see what you like better, okay? Once you find a form you like, you're going to click Install Now and then Activate. And then it'll give you instructions for how to set up that form, right? In this case, for the form, it's going to say what fields do you want. And then it'll give you a little bit of snippet of code to use to put into the page you want that form to appear. That's the plugins. So it's likely you're going to have a lot of different things that you could convert to plugins, which is really nice. It's just an advanced way of building your website. So it's not just straight text, image, text, image, text, image. Now, this last section is talking about selling on your website. I was inspired about 10 years ago after reading the book, The 4-Hour Workweek, which has been a New York Times bestseller since it came out, and I don't think it's ever left the list. Yes, author Timothy Ferriss does talk about how to literally work 4 hours a week, but one of the things he brings up is creating what's called a muse, M-U-S-E, muse. This is basically a way that you are gaining money without doing any additional work. Doesn't that sound awesome, right? Something is generating revenue for you and you're not really managing it. And the most common example is, of course, a website, right? You can have your website open 24 hours a day. People are buying from you at 3 a.m. while you're sleeping, and you wake up and have more money in your bank account. So I won't get into all these details, but just make sure when you're setting up a storefront that it has these features, okay? Because this is what we're accustomed to now. If you ever buy from Amazon, you know you get all these features, right? These functions. So it's important that you have that too. So I'm going to show you the light way of building your storefront and the more complex way of building your storefront. First of all, you need a way to take money in, right? And one of the most popular ones is PayPal. PayPal sets it up so you can take credit cards. Your customers do not need a PayPal account. But it's a way to process payments like credit cards that you otherwise might not have to start with. You could eventually set up your own merchant account, but it's easier to use a third-party system like PayPal that is probably much more secure than you can get right now, okay? And PayPal takes the liability in those cases of fraud. So you go to PayPal, and the nice thing with PayPal is that you can get same-day access to funds. So when you get money, there's not a waiting period. Like Square has a 24-hour waiting period. And then you can take your storefront on the road. PayPal has that pay here thing. As you can see, this like device in the middle of the screen. You can accept credit cards like at an art fair or Dane County Farmers Market, right? And you can see the fees are reasonable for what you get, right? 2.7% or 2.9% per online transaction. It's cost of doing business, right? You can always mark up your items. But the other thing, this is the light way of setting up your shop, is you can set up PayPal buttons on your website. So you go to tools, you go to buttons, and then as you can see in this example, you can name the item. So let's say you sell t-shirts. So it's a dinosaur t-shirt. And then you can customize the item you're selling. So for example, here you see add drop-down menu with price option. Maybe the large t-shirt is $10, medium t-shirt is $9, and small t-shirt is $8, right? So you can have different pricing set up for each item. And then once you're done with that, you're going to click create button. And the button will look like this. This is the example, buy now. And once you create that button, and it should take you like 30 seconds to create these buttons, you will get a bunch of web code, okay? So what you're going to do is copy and paste this code, and then going back to your WordPress website, you're going to click that plus button that I mentioned earlier. Remember, the plus button is how you add different things like images to your page. You're going to choose this HTML, custom HTML option. You're going to copy and paste that code into this widget, basically, and then it'll create this button for you. Again, you're going to create this button. It'll give you the code. You're going to go back to your WordPress site, click the plus button, choose HTML, custom HTML, and then it'll say what code you want. You're going to paste that code into it, hit OK, and it creates the button for you. So now you can have all these buttons to sell items. Now, I say this is a light way of doing it because basically you're still going to have a few steps. Someone buys it, it sends money to your bank account, but then you still need to take the next few steps in terms of like emailing the customers, setting up the shipping and all that kind of stuff. But this won't take you much time. If you sell a few items, let's say fewer than 10, 15, I think this is a good approach to start with, PayPal. But as you grow, you're going to likely need an e-commerce platform. They are very expensive if you build one from scratch. I'm going to say that minimum, you're looking at $30,000 of development costs. Or you can use a free e-commerce platform called WooCommerce. This is, again, free on WordPress. It's a plugin. You search for WooCommerce, install it, and it gives you one of the most popular storefronts in the world. And again, it's totally free. So look at all the things. You can sell not only products, but you can sell things like subscriptions. It has its own payment system, but it does integrate with other payment systems like PayPal. You can, once someone buys an item, you will receive the shipping label, and you can print that shipping label in your home office. And then on top of that, WooCommerce has advanced features. For example, you can do a reward system. So after every 10 purchases, your customer gets 25% off their next purchase. You can set all of that up with WooCommerce. Very nice. So after you install the plugin, it is as simple as this. On the left-hand side, we're going to have products. We're going to add product. And then you're going to name your product, put the price in, sales price if there is a sales price, how much tax there is. You can add the image to the product. And remember, about 20 screens ago, I talked about using a Lightbox, right? You're going to add the image, and down here, you're going to type a description for that product, and then hit publish, and now that product is available. That's as simple as it can be. So as you are evolving your business and growing your business, certainly if you have more than 10 or 15 products, you should consider using WooCommerce. It's a great platform to set up your storefront, okay?